Welcome everyone. Um, sorry, just confirming that you guys can see my screen share, right?
Yeah,
Okay,
we can
awesome.
see it.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, so um, today's workshop. In today's workshop, we're going to be covering. We're going to be getting you guys to build your first or um, maybe not the first app for some of you, but I guess for a decent amount of you, your first Android app. And I'm going to be using somewhat newer technologies for this as well. So I'm going to be covering how to build an Android app using Jetpack Compose, which is a recent, um, which is a fairly recent UI framework that was pushed by Google, and it's been gaining traction within Android development community. And so, yeah, going to get started with that. Um, so first thing that I want you guys to do is just download Android Studio from this link here. I'm going to copy that into the chat. Yeah, there's just a download button, and um, yeah, you just download and install it. Yeah, just do that in the background for now, and you want to sorry. Yeah, you want to select these options once you get to the correct setup screen. Um, Actually, let me also share the slides with you guys in case you guys need to reference things to an earlier point. Um, yeah, so yeah, this is going to be a pretty big download, and also you have to download um, the virtual device, which is also like 4 GB or something like that. It's pretty big. So yeah, just have that running in the background for now. Um, oh, um, yeah, in case there's newer people joining, just make sure to follow the setup. And once the setup is done, we're going to just create a new project as empty compose activity. So I guess that let me try that um, in my Android Studio. So if you open new project, you're just going to get this prompt for different project types and just select the empty compose activity. And for minimum SDK, I just choose API 27. Although it shouldn't really matter much, but it's going to enable some newer features, which are going to be nicer to work with. Um, and once you do that, you're going to get a page like this showing Gradle project sync in progress. And while that's happening, you can't do anything. You just have to wait for that setup to finish as well. So yeah, I'm just going to leave it here for now. Uh, yeah, and yeah, there's some more setup instructions. In case you don't get a device drop down in Android Studio, like around here, then you also need to create a device manually as well. Um, I have the instructions in the setup guide there for that as well. And once you've done all that, you should be ready uh, to to run the starter project. that's shipped within our studio, and it should just say "Hello World" at that point. Um, and yeah, that's pretty much it for the setup. Um, so I guess I'm going to cover some Android component basics. Oh, right, just the project idea. So we're going to be building yeah, going to be building a tic-tac-toe app. So we'll first start off with just rendering the 3x3 boxes and clicking buttons uh, to just display a pop-up. And once we've done that, we're going to um, sort of start managing the state, like whose turn it is, um, and switch between like X and O, and then after that, we're going to be adding code to figure out if a player won or not. Um, and this sort of project would be really complicated in a classic Android UI project, but I'll show you guys that it's not so bad in Compose. And yeah, so now I'm going to talk about some basic Android components. Um, so, so some basic ones that I work with on a day-to-day basis are activities, fragments, views, and view models. Um, and so, I guess the first one is activity, and so this is a quote from Google's own documentation about what an activity is. So it's a single focused thing that the user can do, and uh, and almost all activities interact with the user. So activity class takes care of creating a window for you in which you can place your UI with set content view. So that's kind of a loaded definition, but basically, so it's a single focus thing that user can do. So um, what that means is it's just a full screen object, um, and yeah, it's just yeah, it's not normally just a full screen page of your app. So I have my Fair app running in Android Studio. So I'm going to uh, yeah, I'm just going to run my emulator to show you guys what that looks like. So so the activity would be the entire page of your app, basically. Um, just whatever fills the screen. That's normally what an activity is. Sometimes you can also get pop-up activities, and they don't necessarily take up the whole page, but they're going to take the user's full focus. And then you've got fragments, and Google's definition is that a fragment is a piece of an application's user interface that can be placed in an activity. So yeah, they're just like subparts of activities. And an example of this within the Fair app is you can see that you can switch tabs, uh, but but like the bottom tab here is always in the screen, right? So the way that we're doing that is the whole screen is an activity, but but the individual components inside are fragments. So the this bar at the bottom, that's like one fragment, and then things at the top are another fragment. And so you can have different different things showing within an activity by dividing them into fragments like that. And the third thing is views. And views are pretty much your lower level rendering components. So like your text view for displaying text, recycler view for displaying a list of views, and then buttons for displaying a button, along with a bunch of other views. And you can also define custom views as well. So again, within the Fair app, you can think of the entire screen as the activity, these different pages as the fragment, and then the individual components that are inside there. So this tile here at the top saying introducing my brands, that's one view. This tile here with a photo and text beside it, that's another view that we created, and so on. Yeah, views are just a further, an even lower level component than fragments, pretty much. And then you've got view models, and view models don't define the UI at all. They're containers of data that the UI can that the UI is being rendered from. Yeah, so yeah, they're just yeah, there's nothing visual here, but yeah, they just store the data basically. And yeah, so Jetpack. So we're going to be doing a project using Jetpack Compose. And the neat thing about Jetpack Compose is that your UI ties in with the state really neatly. So so if you make changes to you kind of map the data to the UI, and anytime you make changes to the data, it's going to get automatically updated in the UI. Whereas for classical Android UI, you would have to uh, keep track of what changes you made to the UI state, and then have code to manually update the UI components. So that's kind of error prone, but that's not an issue in Compose. But the issue that comes up in Compose is it does need special type of variables, um, which which are going to tell Compose when they are updated when you make changes to them. And I'll show an example of issues that might come up with not doing that properly. But basically, um, if you have variables that you expect to be modified, you want to declare them as mutable. So instead of just having a string saying hello, if that string is going to be modified down the line, you want to declare that using this mutable state of notation, and um, and similarly, if you have a mutable list, uh, that's not going to work in Compose either. You have to use mutable stateless stuff, uh, and yeah, this stuff is going to come in handy for our tic-tac-toe implementation, because basically we're going to have um, mutable stateless stuff. Uh, yeah, just a 2D mutable stateless stuff, and the idea is that anytime you make a change to a specific tile, it's going to reflect it because you just change it in that array. It's going to reflect within the UI right away, and that's going to be pretty nice. And yeah, I guess now I kind of want to start building out the tic-tac-toe app, uh, and sort of give a bit of a guidance along the way. Um, uh, yeah, so let's, let's just sort of explore Android Studio first. Um, so this is what the starter project looks like, and it just calls this greeting function, and the way that works is that's just going to render um, hello Android, because that's the name that's passed into this greeting composable, and um, yeah, let's see that in action. Um, Also, uh, just a quick check. Um, how how far are you guys along with setting up Android Studio? Like yeah, I know it takes a kind of long. Um, yeah, can I just get a rough um check, I guess? Yeah. Okay. Nice. Um, okay. Oh, John's, you should click empty compose project. Yeah, let me just double check that again. Yeah, empty compose activity. Yeah, this one. Um, yeah, so yes, so Mason is on the same screen. Valia finished downloading. Yeah, I'm just going to wait a little bit more because yeah, I know like the downloads can be kind of big. I'm just going to download I'm just going to create a new device just to kind of gauge my timing with this. Um, I'm going to download a new image. Oh, okay. I guess it's not 4 gigs. It's like 600 megs. Okay, so I'm just going to wait a minute and um, kind of guide you guys along the way. Okay, so yeah, once you guys are um, on the screen, um, I guess some things that are helpful. Um, so there's some different functions in Compose that you guys can use. So one of them is a column. And basically what column is, it's a list. It's a vertical list. So the first thing in the column is on the top. Second thing in the column is right below that, um, and so on. So let's sort of uh, play around with that. Uh, yeah, so just gonna have two text views here, right? Um, and if I run that, now I have just two text views in there. So um, so the first thing that we want to create is sort of a tic-tac-toe grid, right? So let's create a new composable function for that. So uh, okay, I'm just gonna call it grid, and not going to pass any parameters for that. Actually, maybe not. So I'll just pass in um, a grid list, right? And it's just going to be of type list of integers. Um, and uh, and what I'm going to do is basically, so the first thing is going to be a column. That's going to be the vertical container, right? Um, and I'll have rows in that column, right? So first row is going to contain 3 buttons, and then the second row will contain 3 buttons, and so will the third row. Um, actually, right now I guess I'm just not going to pass in any parameters. I'm just going to sort of show what this will look like. Uh, so I'm going to label it box, just label it different boxes. Uh, and let's just render that. I'm just gonna get rid of the speeding function. Okay, so the first thing we're doing, we're just going to render this grid. Okay, so what's happening here? Okay, so this preview function, I'm just going to delete that. Like, let's see what that looks like. Okay, so yeah, as you can see, we're starting to get sort of this grid pattern already, right? So we got the first box, second box, and then in the next row, the third and fourth boxes, and then in the next row, the fifth and sixth box. Um, so now I guess we kind of want to figure out, okay, how do we make this clickable, right? And I'm going to I'm just going to pretend like I have no idea how to get how to get clicks working in Compose. Right. So let's look up how to do that, right? Um, Compose a click uh, button, right? Let's look that up. Okay, so uh, so I kind of like to go to the Android developer website. They tend to have really good samples. Um, okay, so yeah, so this is just a basic compose tutorial, and let's see. See, is there a button here? Okay. Okay, so I guess yeah, the documentation is still a bit lacking for compose, but anyways, so we just use the button function for that. And you know it's going to take in this. It, yeah, it just takes in a an on click function, and like this is what inline function definitions look like in Kotlin. Um, they're just curly braces, and you can you could just do whatever you want in there. So let's just print a toast here. Um, okay, wait. Okay. Uh, okay, so oh right. Also some tips and tricks that I'm using for Android Studio. Um, when you if you're on Windows and you hold Control and hover over um, a variable, it's going to give more. If you hover over a variable or function, it's going to give more info on that. So and on Mac, it's a command button. So yeah, you could get more info on something just by holding command or control and hovering over things. Um, and I use it uh, to like to get an idea of what things I should be passing into functions to get them to work. So let's see, what's the okay. Yeah, this is a realistic representation of development. Like you don't always remember these things. So yeah, so test that. Next, okay. Uh, okay, okay. So just a link. Sure. Okay. Um, okay. So uh, So I'm just making a clickable button for testing. So okay, so I have a button. So if I click that, oh, uh, right, okay, now it should work. Um, so yeah, if I click that, you can see this message pop up testing. So I know that my clicking works. Um, so now um, my idea is to create this grid of buttons to uh, to show these clicks, and I guess after that point, I want to figure out which button I clicked at what index, and um, sort of go along from there. Okay, so I think yeah, we have the basic setup already for a lot of these things, and we just need a data. Uh, we just need a model for holding our data, and so uh, that's let's do a first attempt at this. So we'll have a list of grid cells. Um, so a I'm going to do a nested uh, yeah, I'm going to do a nested array. Yeah, so it's going to be a 2D array, like um, it's going to be a 2D, yeah, 2D 3 by 3 2D array, and uh, for simplicity, I'm just going to do a similar thing with uh, we're defining hard-coded variables for now, and uh, what I'm trying to do at this point is pass in these grid cells into the grid so that I could dynamically render these cells, right? So let's see if that works. Um, so it's yes, giving an error, and Ender Studio is pretty helpful with these things. Okay, so I'm getting an error because I didn't add the parameter. So if I hover over that, it's just going to automatically add a parameter to it. So okay, let's let's try to dynamically create content based on the grid cells. Um, okay, so we know that we need the column, right, to display the rows vertically. So that one doesn't really depend on uh, that doesn't really depend on anything. So that's going to be our root component in here. And what we're going to do is uh, this part I think is pretty cool. You could just iterate over your grid cells, um, just like you would like in your regular logic business code, right? So let's see. Okay, so for row in grid cell dot indices. Uh, so for every row, we want to render a row, right? And now, now for every single column, or actually box, Cell. Okay, yeah, I'll call it cell. For cell and it cells oh actually yeah, just going to name them INJ. Okay, so yeah, now we're just going to render. I guess yeah, let's just render the button here, right? And okay, nice. Yeah, so my internet's still down. I just set up a hotspot. Um, yeah, not sure what's up. But yeah, my Android Studio is visible, right? Everything's good.
Yeah, it looks good.
Okay, nice, nice. Um, yeah, so yeah, so I was just generating these grid cells dynamically in this view. And yeah, so I created this column root object, and I'm just iterating through all the grid cells and generating them pretty much. And yeah, let's see if that works. Just going to print the contents of the grid cell. Um, yeah, okay. Let's see if that works. Okay, yeah. So yeah, looks like yeah. So we're generating the grid cells dynamically, and you can see uh, yeah, like the UI is just being generated on the fly based on what data is provided to it. Um, and yeah, it reads pretty similar to how you would um, just code it in a terminal application. Um, and yeah, it's I think that's kind of cool. Yeah. Um, okay, so now I think we have the required components uh, to do almost everything. Only thing we need to do is you know when you click on a component, we want the state of the game to change in a different way. So let's try to implement that, right? So so within the on click for each cell, yeah, let's just for now let's just try to increment the value. So uh, yeah, so I have the cell index available to me at this point from these ing variables. So let's see. Um, oh, so I'm just going to increment the cell value. Let's see what happens. So I'm just going to close the fair app here. Oh no, okay. So that's kind of weird, right? That's not incrementing. Uh, yeah. So this is like one of the things uh, that you need to be careful of when working with compose. So these cells are actually incrementing, and let's just wait like 30 seconds, and you'll see that they'll have changed their values. It's just that compose can't figure out that it should be changing. Let's see. Okay. Any moment now it's going to change. Okay. I guess sometimes this takes much longer. But anyways, the issue here isn't that the values aren't changing. It's just that compose can't tell that the values changed because we didn't use a compose friendly data type to be able to which tells compose that it changed. So so right way of doing things here would be if I use a mutable stateless, and uh, yeah, now I just need to fix a parameter type here. Um, and now let's try it. So okay, so now we can see that the list is detecting the changes properly too. Uh, so our on clicks, so our on click is working. The state is being modified correctly. Compose is picking up on the state changes correctly as well. Um, so uh, now we have all the tools that we need to tackle this. Um, so let's see. Uh, all right, so let's start with a proper tic-tac-toe table. So um, so I'm just going to declare initial state. See,
Sorry, Rajeev. Just one thing. One of the
yeah.
participants is asking if you can just zoom in on your IDE, like the text.
Oh, sure, sure.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
I'm going to do that. No problem. Um, uh, is this better, or should I zoom in more? I'll zoom in a bit more. Yeah, is this good?
I think it looks fine. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, so uh, right. So now I'm just going to generate uh, the different states for each cell. So uh, I'm going to make an enum class for this. Uh, so the first state is going to be empty, and second state will be uh, the O. Should I just call it? Oh, yeah, O cell. Yeah, and then third state would be the X. And okay, yeah. So let's let's do that. So I'm just going to create yeah, I'm just going to create uh, going to create the board here with the empty cells. Okay, so okay, this cell state file empty. So yeah, so yeah, so that's our 3 by 3 tic-tac-toe grid cell, grid cells, and I'm just passing it into the composable, and now the on click isn't exactly yeah, it's not the same as before, so I'm just going to equal. I'm just going to set it to the O cell first, just to keep things simple, and then the text is just going to be I believe let's get to something like that, or wait. Uh, yeah, okay. So now we have the different values for the cells, and the text is just going to be. I think it should just show up as the right value. Let's try it out. Either that, or I need to do dot value. Oh, okay. Yeah. So dot string, right? And it's row single expression. Okay. Okay. So let's see if yeah. Okay. So these are all our empty cells, and if you click on it, it switches to the O value, and now we just want to we want to have an additional variable to sort of keep track of whose turn it is. So let's do that. Um, so the it turn value would be using a similar mutable state of variable, um, and it's just going to be actually wait fine. Um, mutable state of and we're just going to set that uh, to uh, to O by default. I think O goes first in tic-tac-toe, right? Not sure. I guess we'll just do O by default, and we want to pass in this turn variable into the grid as well. So let's see. Um, so yeah, just I'm just going to do a little bit of a simpler approach. So this turn that's passed into it, uh, it's not actually modifiable. So I'm going to have to send an event to back to the caller. So let's do that. Let's also add a function to do that. So basically, what we're going to do is our function is going to take in the cell index. So so I and the j variable, and then it will just update our grid cells accordingly. And so generally, I know I passed in this snapshot stateless, but this is generally not actually a good practice. So I'm going to uh, modify it just to be a list actually. Yeah, and uh, and I guess when we do this, we don't actually need to pass in the turn to the cell state either. Basically, uh, yeah, basically the uh, grid composable is going to tell our parent that you click this button, and then the parent is going to take care of modifying things. All right, so let's do that. Let's just pass in this new function that just modifies grid cells. Uh, yeah, so it's just going to assign that turn, and the second thing it will do is it's going to switch the turn to uh, the other person. So if turn is equal to uh, O cell, then turn becomes X cell. Otherwise, it becomes the O cell. All right, so and now you just need to add this parameter to the grid function, and it's going to be an int. And just going to name this parameter on click. So, all right, let's do this. So on click with ij. Let's try that out. So that's OX. Yeah, so it looks like our turns are working properly now too. But I think there's another problem here, which we're not disabling the clicked cells. Um, that's pretty simple to fix as well. So I guess all we need to do is I think there should be there's an enabled variable for button, and we can just pass it that grid cell j. If it's empty, then it's enabled. Uh, Otherwise, it's disabled. So let's see. Okay, yeah. So the buttons are getting disabled properly now as well. And yeah, so now only thing that's really remaining is uh, figuring out if someone won the game or not. And yeah, so that's so sort of do that, right? Um, yeah. So I guess let's think about it. When do we want to judge whether someone won or not? I think that would be anytime someone clicks a cell, and we want to just see if for any of the um, if for any of the columns, three of them line up. If for any of the rows, three of them line up, or the diagonals. So let's write a function for that. Basically, I'm going to refactor this on-click function for grid cells uh, to another one for cleaner code. So let's see. So we want to. What would be a good name for it? Yeah, naming variables. That's the hardest. That's the hardest part of programming, guys. It still is after 3 years. Yeah. Okay, so let me think. Yeah, so evaluate. Yeah, I'm just gonna call it evaluate. Evaluate state, game state. Yeah, evaluate game state. All right, and then it's going to take in um, the grid cells. Going to take in the it's going to take in the click row. Yeah, click row and then click column. Yeah, actually, no, I'm not going to do the click here because the main function is going to modify the grid cell, and the idea would be to just call this evaluate game state after that. So now let's think. So first thing we want to do is check all rows. So we want to do for I in grid cells dot indices. Just want to do yeah. So for every single grid cell dot indices, you just want to check just every single item in the row, right? So could you call it grid cell size here? And then yeah, just want to see. Okay, so for so I'm just going to have a lineup variable and just going to assume that's true. Actually, um, yeah, just going to have a lineup variable as the first one. First one on the list, and then basically just see if yeah, so one is just going to be true by default, and if grid cells I j is not equal to that's a bad name actually. First in row. Yeah, that's a good name. Okay. So if the grid cell is not equal to the first in row, then we're just going to say that one is false there, and then um, once that's done, if one, then we just want to return true. I guess we want to return who won, right? So we'll return a nullable string. So we'll do first in row dot value dot string. Yeah. Um, that's checking all rows, and then we're going to check all columns. And the way to do that is just you just kind of reverse the order for I and j. And then so the first in row is going to be 0 g, and we're just going to check each row starting for check each row for each column, and yeah, just going to change this variable name, and yeah, so that's another check. And then now we're just going to check the diagonals. Check all diagonals. And for this one, we're just going to check if the diagonal is so we're going to do the first diagonal now, and we're just going to start off with 0 0 right now. And yeah, we just want to see if grid cells I is not equal to equal. You're just going to assume that somebody won, and check, if it's not, if that condition is not true, then we just set one diagonal to false, and we do the same thing for the other diagonal. Yeah, so all right. Yeah, and then just make the same check there. One diagonal returning first in diagonal dot string, and the same check for the second one as well. And if nobody won, then we just return null. So kind of kind of a uh, big function. So I'm going to create a new file for that. So I'm not going to create a. I'm not going to create a class. I'm just going to create a file with that one function. Um, evaluate game state. Yeah. I'm just going to create this one function here, and uh, I'm just going to check. Yeah, I'm just going to check if evaluate games. Yeah, so just going to evaluate the game state with the grid cells. Uh, and then if it's not null, then yeah, I'm just going to display a victory message. right? So let's see how to do that. I think it was like toast.make text. Yeah. And then the text is going to be um, just whoever won. Um, and then at that point, we want to disable all the cells pretty much, right? Um, okay, so yeah, toast.make text. Yeah. Um, yeah, that's pretty much it, I think. Oh, right, just I was forget to show the text. Yeah, show the toast. Okay, so let's try that out. Okay, so oh, right, there's that bug because I'm also evaluating it for empty cells. So let's see. Uh, yeah, so this one is just going to be if the cell is empty, then just break. Yeah, just adding a bit of a kind of a hacky way, but um, yeah, I'm just going to do this for now. All right. Um, actually, yep. Okay. I don't want to break there. I just want to set the one to false and yeah. Okay. So now let's try that out. Okay. So oh no, it didn't work. Okay. Um. Okay. Well, yeah. Looks like I messed up something in the code. Let's try to now let's try to figure out how you would figure something like this out, right? Okay, so we can see that that x won in this instance. So let's kind of try to reproduce that issue again. Um, okay, so that didn't work, right? Okay, so why not? So let's see. First thing we want to do is okay, so that's checking all the rows. Um, yeah, first you just want to sort of do a quick inspection and see if there's anything obviously wrong going on. Yeah, so in this case, it's this thing, right? I added this this break here. So let's yeah, let's ignore that one. Actually, I don't want to do a break. I want to do a continue there. I think it should work now, maybe. Let's see. Okay, yeah, there you go. Um, Yeah, I mean, okay, yeah. So I guess that's the sort of the first throw at this this app, I guess. Yeah. Um, but yeah, so there's a lot to um, there's a lot to unpack here. But let's sort of let's do a recap of what we learned and how we got to the state that we did. Okay, so the first thing that we want to do is create a layout uh, which describes our data properly. And in Compose, creating a layout is pretty similar to how you would imagine the layout to be rendered in like in a terminal, right? Uh, so imagine if this is just a terminal app, you would um, what would you do? You would go through every single row, print all the items in that row um, on the same line, uh, then print a new line, move to the next row, print those lines. So you want to use a similar line of thinking when coding in Compose, and that's pretty much what I did here. Um, Except that instead of printing, you just like specify this row function to this is similar to the new line, and then you just print each button separately, and uh, basically every time the button is pressed, you want to make sure that the state is modified correctly. So that's going to be handled by this onClick function. Um, the idea the idea for handling this properly is you want the caller of this composable function to handle state. You generally don't want composables to update the states themselves. So basically, this onClick is going to be a way for the caller to get a signal that this button was pressed. Now I should update the state. So uh, say we create a function like that, and it just passed like well, what button was pressed, and then once the once the main function updates the state, because we define the states in a compose friendly data type, which is mutable state list of in case of lists, and mutable state of in case of individual variables. Um, yes, because that it updated, uh, Compose was able to pick up on the changes and render the new data properly, and the rest of it is um, just pretty much just logic, right? Yeah, like this evaluate function is just yeah, I just there's nothing really specific to Android in this one. It's just yeah, just for displaying that toast. And yeah, I think yeah, it's pretty much the wrap up for that. Um, so yeah, um, I guess one thing that I realized I didn't point out some basic IDE tips and tricks. I'm going to keep on thinking about those and update the slides. But one one trick that's going to help you guys out a lot when using Android Studio is if you type in either Command Shift A, then this the screen comes up, this action screen, and you could search up whatever action that you think would be helpful for you. So let's say you want to run the app, right? Like that action comes up there. Or if you want to commit some changes in your version control, like that comes up too. If you want to refactor things, that comes up. If you want to go to declaration, that comes up as well. So just remember this one shortcut, Command Shift A, when using Android Studio or Control Shift A for Windows. And uh, and yeah, you'll pretty much always find your way back to um, what you need to do. Um, and yeah, yeah, I think that was the that was a quick implementation for this. Yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this. As a as an example exercise, I think yeah, you guys could try to implement this yourself as well. I'll provide the reference code in the well, I'm not sure exactly where to provide it, but I'll coordinate with Hamid on that. Um,
Yeah,
and
sounds good.
and
If anyone has any questions for Rajdeep right now, please put them in the chat and he can answer them.
yeah, I guess yeah. There's also 4 minutes left. I could also do a little. I could do a short explanation of how this would have worked in the classic IDE. So, okay, yeah, let me just quickly show that. Um, so let's see. Uh, oh, okay. I guess this one doesn't. Like, oh, oh yeah, next one. Wow, okay. Um, oh, frameworks. So I haven't I haven't seen Flutter being used that much. Although people generally have a good opinion of that. React Native is really popular. Uh, yeah, and just knowing React in general, um, even Jetpack Compose, it's it's inspired by React. And so if you know React, you're going to be pretty good with Jetpack Compose as well. And um, Jetpack Compose is the way that Android UIs are heading towards. And uh, yeah, just knowing React, if you want to learn React, yeah, go for it. It's going to help you out with pretty much everything UI related. Yeah. Um, Yeah, yeah. Not I don't know much about Flutter, but it's a similar paradigm as React as well. But uh, yeah, I just haven't seen a lot of industry adoption for Flutter.
And any more questions? There doesn't seem to be anyone typing, so if there are no more questions, I guess we'll end it off over there. Thank you so much for your
Yeah,
time, Rich Deep, for doing this workshop. I'm sure everyone here appreciates it, and yeah, thank you so much.
yeah, no problem. Yeah, glad to show you guys. Um, yeah, just glad to show you guys something that I find pretty cool. Yeah, and hope you guys look more into Android development and yeah, just have fun with it. Yeah. Um, yeah, I'd suggest like if you want to just kind of get started. Yeah, I'm also going to put some references for Compose as well. Um, I think it's like Compose samples. Actually, let me just do that right now. Let me just put a slide for that. Uh, I'm just going to put this here for now, and I'll update this slide with some documentation. But yeah, just play around with it. Start off with kind of simple projects where you just have a form, you click the form and uh, get things updating, and sort of try to move on to some more complicated projects from there. And yeah, just try to get some API work involved as well as you move to more advanced projects. And yeah, I think you guys will have tons of fun if you commit to it. And yeah, it was great presenting things to you guys. And if you guys think of any questions afterwards, yeah, just feel free to message me. Yeah,
Okay, sounds
that's it
good.
for me.
And just a heads up, guys, if you guys want, you can check out our Learnathon. We have it's an event where we're gonna be hosting workshops for 4 weeks, and we're gonna have topics like AI and machine learning, web development, game development, and a bunch of more stuff. So feel free to check that out. It's in July, and yeah, thank you for your time, Rajiv.
Yeah, no problem, Thomas.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
uh, yeah. See you guys. I'll coordinate uploading my project, and yeah, I'll keep you guys posted.
Okay. Thank you. Have a good day, guys. Bye.